किसी को खाने को नहीं है, किसी छोटे छोटे बच्चे हैं यहाँ पे, हमारे बच्चे को एजुकेशन नहीं मिल रहा है।
कोई मदद नहीं है, यहाँ का सरकार हम लोग को कुछ मदद नहीं किया है।
कमाई उमाई भी नहीं है, सब बर्बाद हो गया।
तो पहला खत्म तो जिंदगी खत्म हो गया ना।
Meghalaya, one of the most beautiful seven sister states of the Northeast. A repository of a rich base of natural resources. With an estimated inferred reserve of about 640 million tons, coal remains the biggest contributor to Meghalaya's economy. But the state is caught in a legal battle over coal mining, impacting the lives of lakhs of people. To mine or not to mine coal is the big question before the state. The quality of coal found in this state is considered better than in other parts of the country, the reason being mineral here contains minimal ash content besides its ability to generate more heat in comparison to some of the best grade coal. Coal has been mined since the mid-19th century in Meghalaya. A few thousand tons were drawn each year from tunnels dug into the sides of hills and were exported to Assam and other neighbouring states. As the mining activity intensified, the practice became illegal in 1970s when India nationalised coal mines and gave the state-run Coal India a monopoly. But even then, private miners continue to operate without the state government interfering in the process. By the turn of the 21st century, Meghalaya's coal production topped 5 million metric tons annually, contributing to 1% of India's total coal. The unregulated mining, which flouted not only environmental laws but even disregarded the child labour and worker safety provisions. It was brought under the media scanner with the help of NGOs and activists.
Meghalaya came under international glare not because of the violations in the environment but because of the human rights violations. According to an NGO, some 70,000 children were caught working inside the rat hole mines of Jaintia hills. It was then that the judiciary and the government awakened.
A lot of these children are employed in the coal mines areas which are hazardous, as the law says. So when we found that there are lots of children working in the mines, we decided that it's important that we should bring this issue to the government and we should work towards it, that no children should be employed in these hazardous areas.
The April 2014 order of the National Green Tribunal came as a game changer as it put a complete ban on coal mining. The order stated that Article 21 of the Constitution gives predominance to right to life than any other interests, including the economic interest. It went on to say that in the largest democracy of the world, the court cannot permit economic interests to be preferred over to right to life.
It's a question of political will, which is pending with Government of India. Since Nationalization of Coal Mines Act 1973 have come on the way to determine the ownership of coal reserves, how will you apply in the first instance to Ministry of Environment?
The NGT's order came after a petition was filed by the All Dimasa Students' Union from the Dima Hasao district in the neighbouring state of Assam. The ADSU petition contested that the mining in the coal belts and the coal stockpiles in the Jaintia Hills area were polluting streams and the rivers flowing into the Dima Hasao district. That's when the NGT questioned the manner in which the mining is conducted in the state and termed it unscientific and illegal.
It's time for all the miners to come together and see how we can actually allow this mining policy to operationalize in such a way so that while our people are still allowed to continue their rights to have mining activities in respect of coal, they will also be required to actually demonstrate the quantum of responsibilities in regards of environment and safety.
Meghalaya's mines, concentrated primarily in the Jaintia Hills, are commonly known as the rat hole mines. Large cranes are used to dig pits ranging from 100 to 300 feet into the hill until they hit the layer of coal. Labourers then crawl into the holes to dig out the coal. The pits have makeshift bamboo stairs for the labourers to use. Cranes then pull up barrows filled with coal from the tunnels. In the more traditional mines, labourers carry the coal out on their backs in conical bamboo baskets. While the open-cast mining done in Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh or Odisha destroys the hill entirely, rat hole mines leave the top cover of the hill intact.
This is one of the 100-feet quarries which we are showing you right inside the Jaintia Hills. Like these, there are thousands and thousands of quarries in the entire state of Meghalaya. But the biggest irony is that pits like these have been left uncovered by the miners. When you speak to them, they say that many of them don't know how to cover the pits, and those who know, they say that there is a complete lack of mineral policy due to which they do not focus too much on covering these pits.
This whole northeastern area falls under zone 5 of it's an earthquake belt. So it's a danger also at the same time. So, things should be, balanced. It should not be taken into consideration that just because these areas are owned by private owners, they should be exploited to the core.
RSTV crew visited the West Jaintia Hills where peculiar coal mines called the rat hole mines exist. And we found that despite the ban order, there were evidences to prove the discreet mining was still taking place.
I was appointed as a local commissioner for this thing, and then I have gone there to the coal mines and saw it with my own eyes that there's still mining going on after the ban also, still going on.
Impulse NGO Network is one of the parties that had filed a PIL against illegal coal mining in the state. For the past 8 years, they have been demanding an immediate shutdown of mining activities, which according to their estimates employed approximately 70,000 child labourers.
Found that a lot of children were brought from other countries as well as from other states to work in the coal mines of Meghalaya.
Activists have also stressed on the environmental devastation. They have pointed out that toxic mine runoff, which has to be constantly pumped out, flows into the streams and rivers. This becomes a major concern during the monsoon, especially when the water gets polluted and adversely affects the biodiversity. The dam on the river Kupli at Umrang So, which gives electricity to Meghalaya and Assam, suffers as well. The water has changed the color of its surroundings to bright rust, visible with the reduced water level.
There are strong mining and anti-mining lobbies in Meghalaya. The anti-miners or the environmentalists say that rat hole mining has left the water bodies polluted and the water acidic. What you see behind me is the famous Vyas river in Meghalaya, which flows up to Kopuli in Assam and then finally to Bangladesh. So you can well imagine that the mining has left the water polluted, and it flows not through one but many places.
Almost all the rivers in the mining areas, and those rivers which flows, either towards Assam or to Bangladesh, they're all affected by mining.
When you say affected, then what is the condition of the rivers?
The condition is that, not as, you cannot even use it. And we have, when it first happened, all, the fishes, the aquatic life in that river has finished.
In the meanwhile, following the April 2014 interim mining ban order of the NGT, Meghalaya government has submitted the draft guidelines prepared by the State Mining and Geology Department, which at present are being looked upon by the Ministry of Environment and Forests. The Green Court, which continued with its April 17, 2014 interim order banning rat hole coal mining, has allowed transportation of extracted coal at various intervals, but the lack of political will in implementing the state mining policy has always been linked to the vested political interests.
The truth is that every aspect of life in Meghalaya, including politics, is linked to coal. But the biggest irony is that there is a complete lack of political will in implementing the state mining policy to check the unregulated mining.
National Sample Survey for 2011-12 shows the percentage of main workers engaged in coal mining in Meghalaya at about 1.5% out of total of 10 lakh workers, which means about 2.8% of households in Meghalaya are directly affected by this ban. Besides direct employment, coal mining also generates indirect or induced employment in wider economy, which is an outcome of employment multiplier effect.
मेरा जो है होलसेल का काम है यहाँ पे 25 साल से चल रहा है। अभी ये जब से कोयला बंद हुआ है तब से हमारा 80% मार्केट डाउन हो गया। मेरे पास 15 स्टाफ थे, आज के रेट में 2 स्टाफ मेरे पास है, वो भी काफ़ी है। इतना इफेक्ट हुआ है कि बिल्कुल एकदम ना के बराबर हो गया। अभी अगर कुछ दिन ऐसे रहा तो हम लोग को यहाँ से छोड़ के जाना ही पड़ेगा, ये स्थिति है हमारी भी।
Besides employment, contribution of coal mining to the state's income is also substantial, as about 7 to 8% of state's GDP originates from mining and quarrying, with coal being a major component of this sector. Mining sector also generates significant revenues, being the second largest contributor to the state's own tax and non-tax revenues. In 2012 and 13, revenue from this sector in the form of mineral concession, fees, rents and royalties was to the tune of 357 crore, which constituted about 27% of the state's own revenue receipts. Share of royalty on coal also forms the main source of income for the 3 autonomous district councils. For a state with a weak revenue base, the loss of income due to the ban on coal mining has had a severe impact on the finances of state government and the autonomous district councils. RSTV crew travelled to one coal trade town, Ladrambai, in Jaintia hills and found shocking images of hunger, deprivation and starvation, especially of the migrant labourers.
हम कुछ नहीं मिला है, खाली थोड़ा थोड़ी खाना खाया और पानी ज़्यादा पिया और कुछ नहीं।
कोयला बंद है, बंदूक काट।
There's no coal, there's no work. It's becoming very difficult to even send our kids to school now.
बच्चा भी तकलीफ।
इधर तो कोयला नहीं खुलेगा तो आदमी सब मर जाएगा।
Ladrambai was once a booming town. Post NGT ban, the coal town has fallen silent. In the absence of mining, shutters are down, be it the banks, petrol pumps or the auto part shops. All the trade which was linked to coal mining has come to a standstill. And that's the reason locals here want mining to start as soon as possible.
मैडम यहाँ की जब से मैडम ये कोयला यहाँ का बंद हो गया मैडम, यहाँ के लोग जो मज़दूर वगैरह हैं या हम लोग जो काम करने वाले हैं, सारे लोग मैडम यहाँ से पलायन कर रहे हैं मैडम। लोग बाहर जा रहे हैं मैडम। यहाँ के लोगों को खाने की स्थिति तक मैडम कमज़ोर हो गई है। लोग मैडम भूखे मर रहे हैं मैडम। लोग यहाँ तक कि मैडम लोग आत्महत्या करने के लिए मजबूर हो गए हैं लोग,
क्योंकि कोयला बंद है ना, इसीलिए कस्टमर कमती हो गया, पॉपुलेशन कमती हो गया ना, काम करने वाला आदमी नहीं है, खाने वाला आदमी नहीं है। बाहर से पहले आदमी आता था कोयला के लिए, आजकल नहीं आता है, इसीलिए बिजनेस थोड़ा बहुत ख़राब हो गया।
Listen to the story of this young man. He was studying abroad, but post the mining ban, his family had to withdraw him from the international college.
I was in UK, and so actually, my family have problem with financial problem, so I have to come back from the UK. So yeah, that's it. I don't know, just gonna be here as long as the government doesn't open the coal.
There are thousands of families which have been into mining since many generations, but the ban order has impacted them to an extent where they cannot afford 2 meals a day.
तो कोयला खत्म तो जिंदगी खत्म हो गया ना।
हम लोग किधर में काम करेगा, किधर से खाना लेके खाएगा, अभी बच्चा लोग को कैसे पढ़ाएगा।
तो हम लोग का कोयला बंद हो गया, जैसा मशीन हम लोग का जितना भी है सब सर गया, करोड़ एक मालिक का कम से कम 2 करोड़ 3 करोड़ मशीन सब खराब हो गया।
This mining site in East Jaintia Hills was once upon a time buzzing with activity, where lakhs and lakhs of people were employed for coal mining. But after the National Green Tribunal ban order, life has come to a standstill. The only thing that brings good cheer, especially for the migrant laborers, is the sound of a truck, because that's an indication that there would be an opportunity for them to load or unload coal.
In a July 2014 parliamentary session, Vincent Pala, an MP from Meghalaya, mentioned that since the NGT ban on mining, many parents have had to sell their children to survive, and that truck drivers and industrialists had stopped work. As a result of which, the crime graph has spiked up in the coal belt. But the biggest impact seen has been on the privately run schools, where most of them have closed down and families are struggling to educate their children. We visited one such school in the coal belt area run by missionaries.
Percentage of the students here coming to school, very less. Some of them left the place. When it was banned, the coal was banned, that time they have gone to their own Nepal, Bihar, all the places, they have left the place here. So their parents want to take them because they cannot pay the fees. And many of the students did not pay the fees even now.
My husband is also doing a business on the coal. And actually now I have to depend only on my salary, with a very low salary. This is not a government school. And then with a low salary, I have to run my family.
Many laborers have migrated to other states in search of their living, because of which there is a huge impact on the cement factories running in the nearby areas.
70 to 80% कास्ट जो है वो कोयला का ऊपर ही डिपेंड करता है, तो क्योंकि हमारा इनबिल्ट अपना पावर प्लांट भी है, तो पावर प्लांट में भी कोयला लगता है, सीमेंट प्लांट में भी कोयला लगता है, और टोटल हमारा प्रोडक्शन कास्ट का 80% भाग जो है कोयला में ही होता है। तो कोयला अभी नहीं मिलने से हम लोग प्लांट चलाना बहुत मुश्किल है।
We are at a village called Sutna in Jaintia Hills. This is basically a dumping yard. You can see stockpiles of coal lying in the open on the roadside. There was a time when women and children separated the slate from the coal, sent it for mixing, grinding, and then finally the trucks carried them back. But all the laborers have gone back to the villages. Chief Minister Mukul Sangma has argued that the industry forms a large part of the impoverished state's income and the prohibition violates the tribal law. Therefore, he plans to propose an alternative to regulate mining and address the court's environmental concerns.
In fact, there is already a committee constituted to examine the proposal of the Chief Minister of Meghalaya in respect to these issues, so that the operational part of this relevant clauses of Nationalization of Coal Mines Act 1973 shall not be operational in respect of Meghalaya. That will enable us to actually enforce the provision of various statutory laws in conformity, in sync with the Meghalaya Mineral Development and Regulation Policy 2012.
The mining community in Meghalaya remains seriously concerned by the order of the tribunal. They say that they have not carried out any illegal mining at their own will. They have put the ball in the state government's court, saying that they should find out a method for executing scientific mining.
हमारा माइनर से छोटा माइनर से हम रिक्वेस्ट किया है गवर्नमेंट से, अगर ऐसे पॉलिसी बनाना है तो सब बराबर होना चाहिए, छोटा बड़ा सोचो जीना चाहिए।
हम तो ये अपील कर सकते हैं कि ना गवर्नमेंट से कि ना ऐसे पॉलिसी बनाए जो मतलब सबके लिए अच्छे हो।
The state has also proclaimed that they are in the process of formulating the concession rules for implementation of the Meghalaya Mines and Mineral Policy 2012. How effectively and promptly the state and the mining community can act on their intentions now remains the question. Efforts are on to exempt the state's 3 autonomous district councils from the NGT ban by issuing a notification under the 6th schedule, which will allow to protect the customary and traditional practices of life and life-dependent economic activities under which coal mining falls in Meghalaya. The The only way to protect the traditional and customary economic engagements of the tribals of Meghalaya is to have a recourse to paragraph 12AB of the 6th schedule. But when will it be taken for reconsideration is a question in point. Till then, not only the livelihood of tribals and migrant population of Meghalaya is seriously impacted, but an already impoverished state is losing revenue to the tunes of 600 crores.
There can be an alternative for livelihood, but no alternative for environmental damage. What happens when these coal reserves finish? Well, these are some of the crucial questions before the government, and perhaps the need of the hour is to bring about a proper balance between livelihood and environment in Meghalaya. That's all we could pack up in this half hour from our entire team. Goodbye and thanks for watching.